Hello there, everyone. Welcome to my studio and to something different. This isn't a shoot with Tapu. Instead, I thought I'd call it 10 portraits. While I've been busy in quarantine making instructional videos teaching you all photography, I've had a million queries about my photography, what I like, where I started. Share with you my photography and some images and give you the anecdotes of these incredible people I've had the chance to photograph. And I hope you're going to enjoy this. So I'm going to call this 10 Portraits with me, Tapu. And before we start, I want to talk about archiving. It's probably one of the most important things in the world. Now with digital cameras having the ability to take a million photographs, what you do is you end up having a computer chock full of stuff and you can almost never find it. So please, when you archive, make sure you have a very sensible way of archiving. I usually archive and make folders in my computer which say, the place, and then the project I'm doing, then the model's name, and then the date. So if I ever want to find something and it say, I remember it was taken in Karachi, then I go to Karachi and all the folders of Karachi open. Then I look for what the model was and I get all those models, or what the assignment was and I get all that. So make sure you do that. One of the most wonderful things is to be able to share your work with others. Unfortunately, with a computer, you have a lot of rigmarole to do before you can actually share it. So what I do, I have every project I do, I make a folder, put them together, and then I print out something like this. This is a book which the Shadiwalas know all about this, because they make these Shadi albums and they share them with their clients. So instead, I make, if I have one on portraits, I'll do an entire book of portraits. Or any other assignment. If I've done assignments on safari, then I will do all my safari pictures and make these little books. They look fabulous. They are great to show and share with others. And also you have a great tactile sort of item which you can share people your images with. Let's move on to my first portrait. So I wanted to talk to you all about this incredible man.
The King of Qawwali, Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan, backstage at Channel V, 1995.
So Channel V, an Indian channel, and yes, in those days things like that used to happen, came to Pakistan to do a concert, and they had all the big bands of that day and era and headlining. So they had Vital Signs, you had Junoon, you had Awaz, you had Nusrat Saab, and it was in 1995. And I was backstage and he was being interviewed by two VJs at that time called Dania and Sophia. And as he was being interviewed, the lights were all set up, and so I got this ready-made setup. So I quickly got in there and started taking my pictures. He was a very shy gentleman, so he would shy away from the camera, and that I thought was endearing. So I took a picture like that. I was using my, at that time, Nikon F3 and a film camera, and the lens is most probably 50mm 1.2, and that means I had a really large aperture, and there you see the grain, and it's all film, so there is natural grain, so it makes it a very interesting picture. After photographing him backstage, I sort of asked him, can I come front stage and photograph you? But unfortunately, there's going to be loads of issues with that, because they're filming it, and apart from that, I'll come get in the way and they won't allow me on stage and things like that. So Khan Saab was very generous. He said, do you have a kurta? So I said, no, I'm wearing what I'm wearing. So he said, hold on. And he asked somebody at the back, ye kurta hai, Tapu ko fit aayega? So they promptly gave me a kurta and I wore it, and then he said Ajao, and I went on stage with him, and he was singing in the middle, and maybe 3 or 4 people away I was sitting down, and every time they would clap I would be clapping, and whenever I got a moment I would pick up my camera, take his picture and put it down, and then get back to clapping. So that's just to share with you what an incredible and charitable human being he was, and his music was so stupendous and made Pakistan proud. I remember being in New York City, and Tower Records at that time used to have this billboard. They used to keep on putting up who the greatest singers of the world were. And at one time there was a billboard which had Pavarotti on one side and Nusrat Fateh Ali on the other side. It was just, an amazing feeling to see how proud Pakistan was being made by him. So that was our first episode, Khan Saab being photographed by me in 1995, backstage of Channel V. And I would share the front stage images with you all, but unfortunately, I only have the contact sheet.
The contact sheet of images taken while I was sitting not more than 6 feet away from Khan Saab in the concert.
In those days, it wasn't that easy to keep your images and get your negatives back from the magazines they were printed in, because there used to be something called drum scanning, which was a horrible technique of scanning images, where they would take a negative and they would put it in oil and stick it on a drum, then scan it, and by the end of it, when you got the image, the negative back from them, it was worthless. So, I have lost all those images, and also magazines didn't give their images back in those days, not that easily. So that was our first episode. I hope you all enjoyed it. We'll come back again with another personality, more photographs and more anecdotes for you. Take care, stay safe. Khuda Hafiz.